That's what you get. And what you got was a really raw documentary about death metal. So if you're expecting glamour, ooh, nice stomach, or something professional, you're looking at the wrong thing. Because this is all tour bus stuff. It's not expensive, and that's why you shouldn't pay expensive prices for it.
We're running out of sunlight here.
We're running out of sunlight, so just act crazy when you're watching this crazy documentary. And why are you watching death metal documentary with a lot of black metal bands? Take that, mosquito. Because in the original era of death metal, black metal gaylords who tried to wage war against death metal said that death metal is live metal. They were the enemy. But it's not the case anymore. Enjoy.
I think death metal is like taking metal to the end of the line. Like you had heavy
the most
metal.
extreme.
Yeah, heavy metal was like
metal.
Judas Priest and fucking Sabbath and everything else. Then you had your thrash metal with fucking Sodom, Destruction, Creator. Then it was death metal.
Bringing it to the next logical step of extremity.
Yeah, death metal was that. However, with black metal, it was almost like a return. It's almost like black metal is almost like very punk rock, as in the fact that it was really super lo-fi.
Yes.
It was very, I would say it's very untechnical. Because death metal is probably the most technical metal could get to.
Would you say that death metal drumming and black metal drumming is very different?
It is different. Black metal is more raw. Let's say it's more, not that much, technique. It doesn't require. Death metal is more aggressive, more intense. It needs more accurate to be more accurate, and you have to have some certain of technique to play, these fast blast beats and also, the different feels.
Some bands, they try to be technical and they use the word dynamic, where they change styles from slow to fast.
Right.
But a typical Chrysian song is just brutal throughout the whole thing.
Right.
Have you been criticized about that?
Yeah, a lot, especially in the beginning, because when we started doing this was like in the early 90s, and back in time, I think like there was really fast bands, like Morbid the Angel was fast, Napalm Death was fast, but I think our drummer, he stepped ahead because he did the bomb blast really fast, and there was no Pro Tools around, no nothing, so a lot of people were surprised, and they say, what's that? It's a drum machine. And they didn't realize it was just the word for the new generation of drummers, so a lot of people in the beginning, they criticized us because they say it's only fast, there's no groove, no nothing.
In the early days, was it the record labels or was it the bands in black metal who made it seem like there was a war between black metal and death metal?
I think it was the media, not any labels really. Because the media wanted to have this trouble. I mean, we from the beginning, we've been inspired by, when we started the band, we were inspired by both black and death metal bands. I mean, if you go back whatever to 89 or 1990, I mean, look at one early Morbid Angel, Dayside, or Immolation. I consider them to be black metal. They can call themselves death metal, and I don't care. For me, it's no big deal if it's black or death metal. As long as it's real black metal and real death metal, it's the thing,
I never really listened death metal. For me, death metal was like Possessed from the States, and even Celtic Frost was called death metal band in the 80s. So that's what originally meant for me, death metal. I was a big fan of Possessed Seven Churches, and also what was the title? Gates of, I don't know, the second Possessed album. Never mind. I really like that band. Then later I heard about this opposition might happen between death metal and black metal, but I never really cared about that. And today I must say that there are really amazing bands. For instance, just to name one, I think one of my favorite bands is Suffocation, because Suffocation, it's just because I'm amazed by their live shows. It's very simple for the stage view, like the guys look in death metal way simple, but their music is amazing and very nice persons too. And for instance, when I first met Glenn Benton, we found each other like good friends very soon, and we were just laughing about that people might think that like, for instance, D-Side and Mayhem would have any oppositions, and we just agreed on that after the first 5 minutes that how fucking big bullshit it was. So I think we are not that many people against this word. So it's better if we are united.
I heard a demo of Cradle of Filth, and I didn't know it was a demo of Cradle of Filth. I thought it was a death metal band.
Yeah, well, we kind of started like that, you know. We were into bands like, when I say melodic death metal, like Edge of Sanity, First Gathering album, Paradise Lost Gothic, First Dismember album, you know, that sort of Swedish death metal, Eucharist. Not just stuff that just, you know, all the way through, but stuff that had, you know, haunting shit with it.
But the death metal vocals on those demos were extremely powerful. You know, and I'm not saying that you're...
Well, I do death metal vocals live as well. I mean, there's a lot more to it now. I mean, I'm getting older. My balls are sagging more. Yeah, can't. It's, you know, it's about contrast really and stuff like that. And I hate, you know, you were talking about death metal, but I hate the sort of, you know, niche tags, everything. You know, because all I see, death metal, thrash metal, green metal. You know, it's all just about labeling so that people in stores know where to put the albums. But that's kind of why I like touring America, because you get a real mixed bag of a crowd, and to a lot of people they don't give a shit, you know, who Satyricon or Septic Flesh or Cradle of Filth actually pertain to be, you know, what scene. It just merges, and that's the cool thing.
This is about the period when death metal was replaced by black metal as a trend in Europe, and how it affected Amon Amarth.
Well, we were sort of unfortunate to have a couple of setbacks in the early 90s. Our rehearsal place got robbed. They stole basically all our equipment and everything, and which sort of delayed us. So when we finally got back on track, sort of the ship had already sailed for death metal. It was like now black metal was going up, and of course that affected us in many ways. I mean, bands like In Flames or Dark Tranquility or such acts, who are very good bands, of course, they made it so far that they could continue growing through the black metal hype, whereas we didn't really make it that far. So we had a couple of rough years there in the mid-90s, definitely. But on the other hand, I don't think that I would have wanted it anything anyway different, because it has taught us a lot and we've had to struggle a lot, of course. I mean, I feel it's been worth it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it is work, I mean, but
It used to be fun, right?
well, it still is fun. I mean, playing's fun. You know, when you get on stage and the crowd goes fucking crazy and you throw up the fucking horns and everyone throws up the horns almost like at command, it's, you know, and playing, it's fun. I still love playing. I mean, there's other stuff involved, like doing annoying interviews and, oh wait, not this one. No, but you know, there's other stuff, you know, especially like on this tour, you know, we have signings every day, which isn't bad. We're usually on the crowd anyway, and I guess it's better off because it's more structured as far as they know we're here. So, you know, they all know they can get it signed, whereas like if I'm out in the crowd and people see me, then it becomes kind of crazy, man. Especially like in other countries, man. The first time we ever played in Poland, I got mobbed, man. Really, like it was like. But getting back to your original question, that's not like a job, but there's, you know, more responsibilities and things you have to take care of when you're just playing clubs. It's just get the fuck on stage, play and get drunk, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't look at it as a job, but there are some things that are like work, I guess.
Have you ever considered the brutality of Longing for Death album fight a war with the heavenly vocals of Live?
I think that's something Matthias would like to add into these eyes, maybe. But I think we already made it on Atlantis album. Listen to Earache Phenomena, for example, or Clash of the Titans. I think it fits very good together.
Death metal is a very viable form of music. One of the things we were talking about before was the fact that, you know, the extension of thrash metal, etc., etc. To me, death metal is one of the most complex forms of metal there is. And
Oh, absolutely.
the amount of like riff structure and the riff changes and tempo changes for each song in the best of the best in death metal groups is technically right up there.
It's very, very tough to master that sort of technique.
We get
We
get every week we get like hundreds of demos from kids, and a lot of kids, you know, I'm into death metal, I'm gonna send Earache my death metal demo, and to hear the general public is like, this is just noise, this is all rubbish, this is crap, you know what I'm saying? And when you hear a bad death metal group compared to somebody who is good, it's like even a member of the general public who to them it's all noise can go, you know what? That is good and that is garbage.
Yes.
Because there is a huge difference between a technical, viable death metal group, somebody who's proficient at their instruments and everything else, compared to an
Doing something different
band
as well.
Another thing too is if you look at even like say heavy rock, or let's say for example, what is a classic hard rock band, AC/DC. Their songs, the structure and the chords and riffing, hey, I'm not knocking AC/DC, I love AC/DC. It's very simplistic compared to death metal. It's almost in the sense that
Absolutely.
death metal musicians.
So you think about how the public accepts AC/DC by their record sales compared to a death metal record sale.
Exactly. What do I think of that? I think that it's only for a very select amount of people, and that some music should be underground. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
That's what I think myself.
Yeah.
And as far as vocals too, a lot of people go, you know, it just sounds like the guy's throwing up, or
it takes
he's just burping.
a lot of.
But you know,
You have to develop that vocal still completely.
Yeah.
You can't. Nobody can just go out there and then start saying that
Not
sort
at
of
all.
vocal skill.
When I say go ahead, try it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because you will not last. And, and like you think of like think of like Deicide and Morbid Angel and bands like that. These are bands that have been going for like 12, 14, 15 years now, and they're still out there doing it. If you're just an amateur Joe and you come along and try and do that, you'll be out of doing it in no time.
Yeah.
Because your vocals will be thrashed, you'll be destroyed. You know what I'm saying?
A Cookie Monster is the coolest Muppet. I used to have a Cookie Monster doll when I was a kid.
Right, the reason I ask is a lot of people who don't understand death metal say that the vocalist is Cookie Monster.
Yeah, I know.
So, would he make a good death metal vocalist, in your humble opinion, or your expert opinion?
I think it wouldn't be taken too serious. Because I don't think that all death metal singers sound exactly like him, except maybe like one that I could mention, but I won't. No, I won't.
Your predecessor?
I didn't say a word. No, look, listen, seriously. I don't think really. Even he doesn't. I mean, Cookie Monster's like, if he is like a death metal singer, it's a very tame version. You know.
So he doesn't go all out.
No, he doesn't go all out. He's only using half his voice. So maybe one day, with a little bit of practice, he could, you know, amp it up and front a death metal band.
Death metal vocals were the vocals of demons or monsters. So vocally, what are you trying to do for the vocalist?
The technique for me is actually not to have a technique, just to honor the content of the lyric. That's the most important thing. And then saying to myself, what do I want to say and how do I want to say it, and that's it.
Do you think that your vocal style is such that it attracts people from various different kinds of music? Because you don't really go the ultra guttural where nobody could understand you, and you have like the angry, almost Tom Araya, where you could hear everything and you could hear the anger in the voice.
Yeah, I think Alex, he is really influenced by the old thrash bands like Metallica, Sepultura, Slayer, and he also got, since we're like playing more like the brutal stuff, death metal, he got the growling too, but I think he's not pretty much like those really low growling, like there's a lot of bands in death metal. It's more like a crossing between thrash and death metal, like Satan or Rise stuff, you know. That's my opinion, but he has his own opinion.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I've been trying, you know what I mean? Like, we grow up, like, listening to early heavy metal bands and then trash death metal, you know, whatever. And this is it, you know what I mean? To try to, like I say, we try to sound brutal, but, you know, at least, you know, I mean, with a little understandable edge, you know.
Do you practice often? with the band? I think the musicians in the band have to practice, but do you ever lay off?
They'll tell you I practice not a lot.
Because it'll kill you,
I practice the least. No, I mean, if I start going to practices because they practice like 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I would usually go Monday and Tuesday, but not all the time. I practice the least.
Do you ever bring them a little jingle on a small piano and you say this is a good idea for a riff?
No.
Do you ever hum?
Do I ever hum? No, I don't hum. Well, I just did before, but earlier. I hum
for the band.
Well, yeah, I don't. I'm not a hummer.
What made you go into the very high-pitched? And I'm not saying that with any kind of insult. It's just that's not a very common thing. That's a Danny Filth vocal style.
I don't know. It's just the way things happen. The first album, the only Dusk was probably the most extreme, and after that, it's that's just one sort of. I mean, a new album, for example, Godspeed and Devil's Thunder. I had a lot of people saying it's too low. You should have more screaming. You just can't win. You just want a finely tuned balance, really. It's about music and it's about aesthetics and drama, and it shouldn't overshadow the music. And sometimes doing too much of one thing can, as in when you talk about death metal, grunting all the way through songs and stuff can just be you just listen to 1 or 2 songs and just think, yeah, that's good, but I can only listen to it when I'm in one frame of mind. Whereas I prefer more cinematic kind of music.
But from listening to those high-pitched screams, they seem to be full tilt, full volume, full energy. Doesn't that take a toll on your throat?
It used to, but then I unfortunately got a bit ill with this thing called Candida, which is it's sort of inherent in everybody, but it just got a bit out of hand. And panic-stricken, I managed to secure this doctor who does throat manipulation, and then he put me onto an opera trainer. So since then, it's been great. And I actually liken it when somebody says, "Well, it's killing your throat." I say, "Well, think about it. A baby screams its head off, but it doesn't hurt its throat." I don't know what I mean by that, but I just say it.
What do you think about the high screeching of some black metal bands?
It depends how it's done. Sometimes it's done with style, sometimes it's not.
The first couple of times Theater of Tragedy ever had a practice. Well, in the beginning I was actually meant to be a background singer, but I enjoy singing very much, and I realized, hey, my voice really fits to the music, and I felt very much inspired to make my own vocal lines, and also to help the male vocalist Raymond with writing lyrics, and also develop his vocal lines. So that's how it happened. I became the front singer of Theater of Tragedy, although I was meant to be only the background singer.
Septic Flesh used female vocals.
Of course.
So
that was in the past, though.
Not anymore?
Not anymore. We don't use... we use choir and orchestra. That's on the latest album. And Sumer and Demons too. But the first albums had a lot of, Greek and female vocals.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be in any other albums, though.
Well, it sounded very good.
Yeah, I know. I can say for myself too that I liked it, but I prefer the new style, the combination of extreme death metal, let's say, with choir and orchestra.
The mysterious Dom Satanas.
What is Dom from?
Well, I think it works in 2 ways. One is the doom, like the end of everything, and the other way dome, like a dome, like a big cathedral. So I think it has both meaning of that. In a way, it's also sound like a title of some ceremony, So
And what made you do the vocals that were unlike the other songs? The clean, operatic. I don't know.
Actually, it was the idea of Euronymous. He said that he would like to have some kind of priest voice there, so I just did it, and he was really happy about that. So I think that, when I heard the Mayhem stuff and I heard Maniacs and later Dead works there, I thought it was great, but like I told you, I like to experiment and step forward, so I just showed the guys and invented this more dark voice and this more loud voice, and everybody loved that, especially Euronymous and Varg and even Hellhammer, so everybody agreed on that, so they gave me a green light, so I said, okay, let's do it. So at the end, the whole album is almost sounding like that, but for me it was cool that time, because I thought it's more unique to use that strange dark melody and that kind of voice instead of just a simple black metal scream where I already did in Tormentor. So it would not mean for me that much different or any step to somewhere, but to use this different dark voice was a kind of step to somewhere. I knew that it's gonna be strange, but I like that, I like challenging. And I think life is a challenge, so I like that message in the music too. Like the Ordo album is a total challenging album, so I think if someone is not giving a time to it and effort to listen to it and go into the details, they will never get it. So then it will be just like a messy stuff. But when you give time and energy into it, and it suddenly start to work, I guess. So you find the details and the things which are really going on.
Death metal has a lot to offer to the audience, especially in the form of an outlet for aggressions and everything that all of us carry inside. There's nothing that really gets you going more when you're feeling pissed off than to put on a good piece of death metal and just bang your head off, or something like scream your head off, And death metal is so much emotions and everything, dealing with everything from hate to aggression to pain, which none of the mainstream music could ever come near to, in my opinion.
Technical ability versus commercial sales are two different things.
Absolutely. If you consider, for instance, Nirvana.
Yeah.
How many records have they sold, and how good of a musicians is the band? And
it's basic musicianship.
You can play that, stuff in 6 months.
What is the Chrysian idea of lead guitar in death metal?
Man, it's hard to explain, because lead guitar is just like a natural driven motivation. Like you just start jamming and that flows naturally, but I don't know what that represents for everyone, because I know we never make a music happen just because there's a guy shredding or whatever. It's more like the whole stuff and how it fits together, So sometimes the music is really fast and demands some breaks, some different stuff going there. So I guess the leads can sometimes, add something in the music. So we did a lot. Nowadays we changed it a little bit. The leads nowadays are more into the music than in the past. There was more just going crazy all the time. And nowadays, we realize we have to work better, into the music, put the lead into the music, not the music into the lead.
Does a standard or Western music theory ever play a part in Chrysian, or More importantly, does anything from your Brazilian heritage enter Crisian musically?
There is rhythms that we learn only in Brazil, like Sepultura showed for the world. But I think I try to learn music from all the cultures, from like Asian, Arabian, from jazz, blues, country, or don't matter, man. I go really further into the music. I don't care if subdivisions are, or if I think something is interesting, I go there, try to learn a different like tempo, different like kinds of mathematics of the music, something that you're not used to do. So I try. I'm really open. So I guess the whole world, even Brazilian music, have a part in our music.
Most musicians, they don't want to play the slow music because they like to show off their talent. But playing slow, does that also show off talent?
Yeah, it's quite difficult actually. Playing slow.
Well, I lack talent. That's my excuse.
I lack talent. There you go.
You know, the first album that you were on, the music was more straightforward. And now you came back after Mayhem, started doing crazy stuff with the music.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect you? Did you have some trouble with it at first?
No, I think Mayhem is actually it's a very interesting aspect of the band that it's, in my eyes, it evolved. So after the first demo, Death Crush, came the Mysterious album, which was a really big step, I think, into black metal directions. Then the Wolf Layers, Abyss. It's like a beautiful black metal piece, like completing the Mysterious album. And then comes more steps forward with the Grand Declaration 4 album, which is like technical and very clinical, and in other hand I think it was very ahead of its time and very futuristic with a lot of experimental elements. And myself, I am a big fan of experimental music too, so I always thought that was cool. And then Chimera was like use your word, a bit more straightforward album, but then it was still a step forward in my eyes. I really like the production and the songs and this flow in the music. And when came Ordo, we composed that album with Blasphemer, and we just agreed on the first basic lines, like it has to be, we found the title for the album, and it has to be dealing with chaos and order, and about also main lines like alienation and stuff like that, to lay down the lines. And then he started to compose the music, myself the lyrics, which was going on many levels. So I can tell it's also the lyrics are, in my eyes, for me, they are very complex, so I try to take care of each word that I used. And all in all, I think the album turned out good, and it's just very futuristic in a way. It's a combination of the past and the future, and I like that. It's crazy, of course, so it's dealing with craziness, which means, but sometimes people say is that it's a very thin line between genius and crazy people. So we were trying to walk that line,
It seems that when the rest of Europe seemed to follow the black metal flavor,
yes,
that Greece still had very strong death metal love.
Yeah, but also, in black metal, there was also some bands that they started this kind of style, like, for example, Necromantia, that I'm also playing, Rotting Christ, one of the first bands, Varathron. These bands, they started, they were from the first bands that started playing black metal. And they also had, good, they were in touch and started also having, contacts with bands from Norway, like Mayhem, like Impel Nazarene from Finland, and other bands that they started, the black metal scene and death metal.
But even the black metal bands in Greece played older styles of music.
Yes.
But other countries, they copied the Norwegian black metal.
Of course.
But Greece never copied it, Norway.
Somehow Greece had this, let's say, this kind of style that they could combine their own way of playing their music, their black metal, their approach in black metal. So, for example, Rotting Christ, if you hear them, they're not the black metal that it's fast all the time and, you know, trying to copy, like you said, the Norwegian bands. And they have their own style, their own, you know, identity. Also, the vocals of Psychis, they're, you know, you can just tell when you first hear the first note even. And also I can say the same thing for Septic Flesh. They have their own style, their own way, and their own, you know, their own kind of melodies, putting there's, let's say, you know, that they're really melodic, combining with a combination of really aggressive music.
To play Doom, especially the music of Trick of Despair, it has a lot of sadness to it, much of the music. Do you bring your own sadness into the songwriting?
We cry and wank a lot.
Cry and wank a lot. Yeah, I guess so. We didn't get to do anything much, just play the songs like the bastard wants us to play them. And that's it. He's sad and moody.
And wanking a lot.
And wanking a lot, yeah.
Well, I've heard in advance of the new album, and there are just a couple of questions. For Whore Crown, there seems to be melody that has never really appeared before. Would you like to talk about that?
I mean, when we look upon melody being used, we used melody in the past as well. I mean, some people say like, oh, you're doing this heavy stuff today. Yeah, but if you look upon our early albums, we did heavy stuff there as well. I mean, I don't know if people really heard the old shit or whatever, but I mean, we've always been heavy, we've always been fast. It's always been dark, but in different angles, in different directions, you know.
And the song As a Garment has some psychedelic parts to it.
Yeah.
Is that the first time?
I think we have psychedelic parts before, but maybe not in...
I'm not sure if I would call it psychedelic, but...
It's different, I would say. But still dark, you know, doing something different that still suits the concept of what we are doing.
Have you ever thought about adding a second guitarist on your live set?
Yeah, we always think about things, you know what I mean, but it didn't work out. We tried a couple of times, you know what I mean, but it didn't work out, you know. We feel good, we feel comfortable as a three-piece, you know, we can play just as loud, you know what I mean. Of course, it's not like having a second guitar could help, you know, could add, you know what I mean, but we haven't found the right guy, you know what I mean, and up to this point, things are running fine, so... But, like, you know, you never know. Maybe in the future, anything can happen, you know.
As a bass player, you always support what the rhythm guitar player does, correct? Or do you ever invent something for bass that the other musicians follow?
That's my boy. Come on.
Yeah.
Spill it out. That's it. At one point, we did have, we met with Count Grishnak from Burzum, and we were interested in talking with him, or interested in doing a deal with him, and for whatever reason, that deal never happened. And we had one lunch meeting with the guy, and people turned around and confronted us like, what the fuck, you guys now a Nazi label, blah, 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 blah. And as far as we're concerned, is, you know, we don't promote this, that, and the other. We, as Bill talked earlier on, you know, we had like, Napalm Death doing Nazi punks, fuck off.
Right.
And I don't see why, if we can have somebody shouting communism and leftist stuff. The Burzum that we were interested in had no lyrics like that, but it was like Northern European folklore, this, that, and the other. As far as I'm concerned, if we can have this, well, then we can have that. We're just a label. We're not promoting one thing or the other. We're in the business of selling CDs and promoting underground music. And there's no hypocrisy in selling something that, you know, it's blatantly this way as to that way. There's, you know, it's not up to us to censor our artists.
Message-wise, you do things that are not characteristic of black metal, or is it characteristic to talk about the Third Reich?
That's just maybe it's not very characteristical to do it, but I mean, we have a very strong theme or base or what we believe and what we do, but I mean, we also do a bit, we always have this historical part of the band as well, and some historical happenings just happens to create music or lyrics in our head, and we just bow down to that inspiration and creates music and lyrics dealing with those topics.
Are you with us tonight? I'm not gonna up there, you fucking fuckers! Are you with us tonight? One way or another, shut
would you say Crisian has a category of lyrics? You know, hardcore bands, they're political.
Right.
Some bands are purely satanic. What would you say describes your messages?
Well, dude, our music is brutal, you know what I mean? Our music is aggressive, you know, so are the lyrics, you know what I mean? But like I say, we're not trapped like to one subject, you know what I mean? We've seen things going on, you know, we can get inspiration out of anything, you know what I mean? From a documentary on a TV, from a book, you know what I mean? For something that you see out there, you know what I mean? News, anything. We don't really stuck up on a determined subject, you know, either politics or social problems or anything like that. You know, I mean, like I said, it's so many things out there, you know, but pretty much, you know, I mean, the messages are aggressive and brutal, you know, either, you know, satanic or, you know, I mean, the kind of stuff that we deal with ever since we started the band, you know.
Cradle of Filth had its extreme peak during the Dusk and Her Embrace days, but it seemed that even then you weren't really part of the black metal scene. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, we were friends with, you know, we toured with Emperor, we knew Immortal, we knew Necromantian, knew loads of bands, Impaled Nazarene, but we were kind of on our own because we were on our own in this England, and it's an island, and there's a big tract of water called the North Sea that separated us from the whole Scandinavian crew. So that in a way kind of, you know, cut us off and made us individual. But and also the fact that, you know, all the other bands were very Tolkien based and Viking heritage, whereas, you know, England obviously is steeped in, you know, Celts and Druids and the whole Spinal Tap thing.
Yeah, and lyrically you veered more toward the Gothic, and I don't mean strictly the vampire, I mean like Gothic Mary Shelley.
Yeah, exactly. Turn 19th century, turn 19th century, that kind of thing. Sheridan Le Fanu, Stoker and Baudelaire and people like that.
You had a hand in those Shakespeare-style lyrics that are incredible.
Thank you very much. Actually, at that point of time, I studied Old English at university in my hometown in Norway. So, of course, a lot of inspiration comes from there.
Another thing that's different about Septic Flesh is the lyrics to the songs. You know, I'm not saying there's anything bad with the gore, the horror movie lyrics, but it seems that everything from Greece is more spiritual.
Yes.
If you want to talk about that.
Sotiris is the guy that he's responsible about, you know, all the lyrics and all the themes. He's a really clever guy. He has read a lot of books, you know. He's really, his mind is not a normal mind, let's say. So I cannot speak about this, you know, it's his talk only. He can talk only about this.
Have you ever heard of NSBM?
Yeah.
Have you ever been accused of being an NSBM band?
Probably. We've been accused of everything from being this or that, and we could care less, you know.
I'm convinced that you are not afraid of anything that is unpopular.
Yeah.
But have you ever been compelled to write maybe anti-Semitic lyrics? What is the difference between anti-Christian and anti-Semitic?
I think it's a big difference. I mean, just read the lyrics and make up your mind. I mean, it's not that hard to understand.
I guess first and foremost would be that Marduk is not a political band at any level. And that's that. We don't have to do anything with politics at all, so I don't know why this would be a problem for anyone.
But in other countries there is an anti-Semitic element.
Which countries?
Well, America, let's say.
Okay.
There are the NSBM bands who are from America, which I think are just imitators of Europe. But I can't see that happening in Sweden because what impact has the Jewish faith had on the Swedish?
We've always been. I mean, it's never lived that many Jewish people in Sweden. I don't really know, but I mean, Sweden is a 9 million population, maybe like 15,000 Jews. I don't really know. I have no figures of how many Jews that lives in Sweden, but I mean, anti-Semitism has been around a long time, and it will probably always be around. So I don't know. I don't really care.
All right. Well, would you agree that it's safer to make fun of Christians than it is to make fun of?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Not only Jews. I mean, when it comes to certain things, you could say whatever you want about a Christian a Christian, but if you would criticize anything else, you would get in big problems or whatever. Yeah.
But some people say that if you criticize Jews, your career is over. I don't believe that because I'm proof of that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's natural to criticize whatever you live, whatever problem you have. But I mean, in Sweden, I don't ever see any other problems that what we ever had is the problem that we ever had is Christianity. So.
And also, if you look at the later years of Marduk, we don't really make fun of religions anymore because it's done.
I mean, we finished with that. I mean, no Christian man or whatever organization could ever had any power over us. So, in a way, we finished up with that. We're going in other directions now.
But where I was going is there is another level of religion, and that is the Muslim level, where you can actually get killed. Or do you believe that that's not really true?
Yeah, sure, you can get killed.
So,
you could get killed being a doctor doing abortions as well, you know.
This is a good idea. You should have a clause, a living will, wherein if two members of the band die, you could take pictures of one eating the other one. Even though they'll be dead, you'll just pose like one guy's mouth on the other guy's body.
And that could be our new album cover.
Yeah. They'll be Cannibal Corpse.
Well,
talk about it with the guy.
It ain't gonna be me, so you need to ask the other guys about that one.
So when zombies eat living people, do they ever do dick meat?
Oof. Maybe the female ones. I don't know. I mean.
Or they go for brains.
But I'm sure they go for brains. I just want to know if they shit. I mean, do zombies fucking just go? Gotta shit.
Would they wipe or they don't care?
I would just think they'd shit their fucking pants and not give a fucking walk around with fucking crap dripping from their drawers.
I'd say 89 to 93, 94 was the pinnacle of
that. Was well. And when any music genre is going to be new, the initial explosion of it is going to be the strongest point.
Yeah.
And then after that initial explosion is when it's going to be, it's going to be a little tougher.
But you know what I want to say though? I want to say that, in my humble opinion, is death metal did not die. You have this wave. You have this wave of music, and basically all the Johnny-come-latelys and the bandwagon jumpers and whatever.
It's going to saturate the scene and cause it to fucking stagnate.
But those people all drop by the wayside. But the people who were legitimate, and most of the time the people who started off doing it, they still here today. And it's just like, to a degree, it's like writers and magazines, whatever, they're the flavor of the month. Ooh, death metal. And then it became something else that they focused on, what have you. But those bands kept doing it. And when death metal was supposedly dead, Morbid Angel had some of the biggest selling records ever.
For a while, black metal, it seemed that the popularity was because of the stories of the bands instead of the music of the bands. Do you have any opinion about that?
Yeah, I think so, man. There was a lot of hype. They create more on the image and stories than the music, because the music itself, some bands were good, but most of them are just like a sloppy and raw, some silly music and silly people playing that shit. But that goes for death metal, thrash metal, don't matter. No, I think that the real ones are always gonna stand out in between the crap scene.
Yeah, trends they come and go, but only the real bands are there. I mean, all these the burning of churches and shit. This is pretty silly, man. I mean, you got a guy in the middle of nowhere and set a little chapel on fire and make a big deal all that shit. I mean, we're from South America. We've seen a lot of crazy shit going on, like killing people, like into the scene, into the shows and shit. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody makes a big deal of that shit. I mean, so it's pretty much the hype. The hype of things. I'm evil. I'm holding axes. With cherry blood on it, put my shirt out on the middle of a blizzard storm. That for me, all the shit's gone. Like he said, there's labels, they come and go, but only the real bands stay. I mean, all that black metal shit was just a big hype.
All the outsiders, or not all, but many of the people think, wow, such a great story that belongs to Mayhem, and Mayhem lives on the blood of these people. Actually, it's the other way. No one thinks about that the band was completely ruined. The band was just dead after what happened, and it had to build up again from ground zero. its reputation. Of course, the people heard about the name, but it's very controversial, you know, and people have, I think, certainly bigger expectations from us than normally from a band. So I don't think when people believe that we can thank anything to our history, I can't share that idea. Mayhem really had to pay for it, you know, and those people who say this, they should try to put themselves in our position. What if it happens with them? Just imagine that. So whatever, I just don't like to talk about this too much because it's been told so many times in so many different versions that it's nothing to comment about, I think.
To me, as well as some other people, Velvet Darkness was your best album with Theater of Tragedy. But then the style already began to change, and I listened to the follow-up album only because I was a fan of Velvet Darkness. But then came the dance change, and I couldn't listen anymore. Is it true that some of the band members completely stopped listening to metal?
Yes. Even sold their older metal CDs, just starting to tell in interviews that they hated metal, that they hate metal, which I think is really kindergarten. I think that you should be honest about your roots. And by the way, I grew up with Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Deep Purple, this kind of music. Without this source of influence, there would never have been Theater of Tragedy or Leaves' Eyes. So in my opinion, Velvet Darkness They Fear is the best album of Theater of Tragedy. And this is a kind of, it's a starting point also from which I take a lot of inspiration for Leaves' Eyes, what I'm doing right now.
Right, how do you feel about David Vincent returning to Morbid Angel?
It's cool, man. He's a killer singer. You know, they were great with David, so.
And has Tom Warrior redeemed himself in your eyes?
What, with the new album? There were a few songs that I thought were slightly sounded like, you know, the old days, but I didn't like the whole album.
And
I will go see them when they play, for sure.
Does him fagging out in Cold Lake album affect your appreciation of the new album?
I just don't think about Cold Lake. I mean, because they look nothing like Cold Lake now, and they sound nothing like Cold Lake now with the new record. So, I mean, that's just a day I don't even remember. I have that record, by the way, and it fucking sucks.
You, especially, because you were the front man of Cradle of Filth, became so popular, and I think that caused resentment because the underground...
At one point, but then look what Dark Throne are doing now. They don't give a shit, do they?
Yeah.
Have you heard the new album? They've got a song in it called Hiking Metal Punks, about hiking in Norway. And another one called
Silver Pants.
Another one, September in Norway. You know, they just got to that point where they think. And the last record, Too Old, Too Cold, is basically a statement saying, well, look, we don't give a shit anymore. To be fair. And I spoke to Mayhem, previous Mayhem singer, Maniac. Sorry, he's a teacher, so Brainiac sort of sticks. But last time I saw him, he had his head shaved, and I said, "What's with the sort of punk haircut?" And he said, well, because I want to do it, and I guess I can piss off as many black metal kids as I want to.
Well, what I mean by that is, you started underground, and then...
well, everybody does, don't they? Nobody gets big instantly.
But it seems that there is a hatred when a band gets big.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But
if it's done for the worst reasons, that's when I think it's justified, you know? And I guess there is jealousy and that breeds resentment because of that. But there were a lot of things we were young, and we went on TV and did all these fucking crazy shows, still do in England, and people see them and you say, well, in my position, you do the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? You would do exactly the same thing and enjoy it. You're not supposed to. What is the point of music if you don't enjoy it or enjoy being involved with everything that goes with it?
We talked about this privately. I'll ask it again. Dark Throne was known. Every time a new Dark Throne album comes out, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Same thing with Marduk. but more so now these days with you.
Yeah. I mean, we don't sit down and plan like we have to do an album that sounds like this or that. As I told you before, we don't have any desire to become a space jazz band just to be different for the sake of being different. We have a burning devotion to what we do, and we let our inspiration flow, and it turns out the way it does. I mean, simple as that.
We slow down. Straight from the opus nocturne heroes. Materialized and
Did you ever consider changing styles?
Not really, man. I guess we just developed our style, trying to sound as like brutal, faster, and groove, and do the best we can do as musicians, and grew up as a band and keep the unit together and keep jamming and delivering the real music, you know, no like some fucked up shit and just change it because there's a trend out there, so you're gonna change just because it's selling better or because the magazine just want to cover certain type of music. So just say, fuck off, man, we're gonna keep doing what you do until the end.
I want to touch on the element of you promoting death metal through commercial means. And I said earlier on that some music is meant to stay underground.
Just like Roadrunner used to say.
Well,
way back in the day.
Who? What label was that? I don't know what you're talking about. But I would say though, with death metal in this country, or let's just say underground music in general, is I believe there is a ceiling. And you know what? Some music's meant to be underground. We had a band called Carcass on the label for a long time. And each record built and built and built as the word got out, etc., etc. They got to a certain level. We came under the attention of the major labels, and one major label were like, you know what, we don't have Metallica, and here's this little...
This is Columbia.
Well, I didn't want to mention the name, but you said the name.
I don't think it matters.
Okay, it doesn't matter. But alright, so Columbia, Sony, right? They we came under their attention with Carcass, and like, you know what, this little dinky little label was getting all these sales with a couple of posters in stores and this, that, and the other. If we got that band and we promoted them, we'd have the next Metallica on our hands. So they come along, they sign the band, they fill the band full of all sorts of ideas. Big, you know, the major label machine gets behind the band, do the glossy videos. They get on like Beavis and Butthead, which was like probably the metal outlet on MTV at the time.
Yeah.
You know, Times Square, they had the big TV screen.
Right.
The Triniton, what it was called. They played the video on that. Fantastic. I saw it. You know, lovely stuff. It literally made not one extra sale with Carcass. It was like there was our sales like that on the indie.
And they thought they could bring it up.
The major X amount of so much more budget and spend and push, same difference.
We get around, we manage, but unfortunately we all need, you know, jobs on the side when we get home. We need to pay the rent like anybody else, of course. Fortunately for us, we all have bosses at our jobs that allows us to take time off to do tours and festivals and whatever is going on, you know. I'm not sure if we would have been where we are today if we wouldn't have had that opportunity to go on tour and everything.
Touring is a necessary part of being a band, or
yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, notoriety, you can get that with not touring and stuff, but really you need to get out there. And I used to really fucking hate touring at one point or another, and now I really like it. And I think it's just because of getting older and sort of being a bit more control of it and thinking, right, yeah, we're not going to go out and just party our asses off the first night and then the next 2 weeks recover from it. You know, we're going to pace ourselves, we're going to look after ourselves, going to have fun, but, you know, not at everybody else's expense. And, you know, do a load of prep work beforehand. You know, tour managers finds out where we can go, and so enjoy it, you know.
The downloading question, where do you stand on it?
You know how I stand. I think it's bullshit, you know? I mean, look, I met some people that actually have downloaded songs and then they go buy the record. That's fine with me. You know, if I downloaded Rain and Blood, yeah, I bought it 5 fucking times and every one of the albums I bought had a skip in the same spot. I know everybody else had that problem too. Yeah, you know, or a CD and it's broken and you already bought it, you know, and you still got the case but your CD's busted, you know. you already fucking bought it. I don't see a problem with that, but just downloading every band's record just because you don't feel like paying for it, but you want those bands to come out and tour, you want those bands to keep putting records out when you're going to help to make them broke. And, we're bigger than some of the other bands that are hurt worse by this, Like, everyone gave Metallica flack for that, but, hey, I mean, if it cost them each $50,000, do you just want to give $50,000 away? Fuck no. Hell no. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them for bitching at it. And bands like us, they sell millions. We sell 100,000. So if you take half of our sales, that hurts us. I mean, we're able to tour a lot, and people are always, you guys come around all the time, and it rules because we're out making money. We're out here making money because of touring, and putting out records. Obviously, that's. It's just ridiculous to think that people call you a rock star for being against downloading because we're rich rock stars and we got all this money and we're bitching about it, and we don't, especially in the underground. Bands don't have all that kind of money.
Is technology a friend or an enemy to cuisine?
A friend, man, because nowadays you can introduce your music for much more people, but of course in the other side that affects your sales because everyone can download CDs and stuff for free, But in the end, it's good, man. In the end, it's a good tool to promote your stuff.
Yeah, it's more a friend than an enemy, let's say.
So do you have an iPod?
Yeah. But I'll buy CDs, man. I'll definitely buy CDs. I always buy CDs. It's not like
we download the stuff we buy.
Yeah, we download the stuff that they buy, actually.
I think when people think that you're in a band and you make millions, they think you make millions of dollars. They think it's okay, but we're not. And a lot of the bands that I think were, against downloading aren't making millions of dollars either. And they rely on money from record sales and things like that. I mean, we make a lot of money doing tours and selling shirts. That's one of our big things. But now we start to make money from record sales, and when 50,000 copies are not being sold anymore because 50,000 people downloaded it fucks us. It takes money out of our pockets. I mean, go to work all week and then your boss takes $500 out just cause. You wouldn't fucking like it. I mean, our bosses technically are the fans. I mean, they decide what we sell. It's up to them. They decide who comes to. They don't come to the show, then the next time around we're not getting paid as much. Maybe it's kind of a hard subject. It's kind of a testy subject, because some people are just like, what the fuck? You don't want to pay for something, and I guess I can't blame them. Nothing, money's not the easiest thing to come by these days, but. I mean, if we have to have regular jobs at home, we don't tour as much, and so we don't have as much time to write music, and so forth and so forth.
Journalists in magazines, are they good or bad for the band?
Oh, that depends. Depends which part of the country. England's always been a fucking pain in the arse. They build bands up, as they did with us, and it's all, sweet smelling of roses and stuff like that, and then they just have this habit of just like then smashing them to pieces, and we don't fare very well because I've had a few arguments with journalists and called one a child molester. We don't actually be in this magazine anymore, but it got to a point where they're only interested in speculation and rumour and gossip and front covers that scream abuse than they actually were in the music, whereas places like America, they actually judge it more on the music than how high you are, or or
scandal.
Yeah, real scandal. Wow, big deal.
Yeah, we had our fun together.
Yeah. But that's tongue in cheek. I can take that. It's just when people are, they become so shallow and see through. They try to cover it up, and make it seem legitimate. When you just think why don't you just be level with me and just say you're taking the piss? That's fine.
I told all the guys here that fanzines, there is an element of fanzines where you see probably say 60 to 70% of fanzines at issue one. A kid, puts something together in 5 minutes, sends it to the label, hoping to get free CDs for a year before he is caught out. There is that. There's the other element of, which I told everybody here, is today's fanzine writers can be tomorrow's major magazines or tomorrow's magazine editors.
Yeah.
And history has shown time and time again, the one kid living in this town, he's the guy doing the fanzines, he's putting on his own shows, maybe he's playing in a band, he has a radio show going, etc., etc. The one guy doing that is the guy who becomes like, you know, the editor of Metal Maniacs.
The next Bill Zebub.
The next Bill Zebub, exactly.
Yeah.
When I first moved to the US and started running the US operation here, you know, I was aware of the Grimoire and I'd seen other issues in the past, etc. But I had a long talk with Bill, and to me, Bill was like the definition of metal. You know what I'm saying? He loves beer, he loves girls, he's got a sense of humor, you know, and he's very
Doesn't take
real.
himself extremely seriously.
Exactly, and to me, just on the personal level, I respected that, and he's always had my support.
And a lot of labels, they get a bad review. They get a review that just destroys their release. Where they had so much hope, so much thought, whatever in the release, and
at the end of the day,
you have to take it with a grain of salt.
But you know, at the end of the day, he has a disclaimer on the front of the magazine, made by assholes for assholes. You know what? It's a joke. If you don't get it, you know, don't be a fucking sensitive Sally and get fucking all upset about it. You know? Yeah, it's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? It's pure entertainment.
Yeah, it's
and that's why we support Bill.
It's so funny that all these bands, all these labels, you know what?
Some people.
Well, it goes as far as death threats, whatever the hell it goes to, and.
Some people,
who knows?
Some people, I guess, take themselves and what they do
way too seriously.
You know, we're not trying to put a fucking man.
I think the Grimoire just puts them in their place almost because hey, you know, what are you? You're one of the 10,000 bands or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more talking about label people, and I wasn't even aware that people boycotted him, but I guess those people, you know, they think they're putting a man on the moon or whatever. That's how serious what they do is, and you know.
But the Grimoire itself, it's complete entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it's made to laugh at.
Yeah,
that's how I
mean, we can't wait for when the new Grimoire arrives here.
Yeah, it'll get some good reviews of our releases that I'm going to laugh at.
We'll stop work and laugh our fucking asses off, you know.
Yeah.
Have you been dangerously misquoted?
Oh, all the time. Possibly my own fault.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you know, we've had our run-ins with people.
Are there any journalists or magazines that you'd like to have the last word in this interview, maybe?
Yeah, but again, you know, I can't actually go there with it.
Okay.
I'd like to, believe you me.
But that's part of fame. You get the destroyers out there.
Yeah, no, well, and they're entitled to their opinion, but sometimes their opinion is just so pathetic, you know. I don't mind, you know, if you're in a legitimately rubbish magazine like NME or something like that, or Sounds, which both actually have fallen through for being legitimately rubbish, but, you know, that sort of deal with all the crap bands like fucking, well, you know, the Ting Tings and the Verve and the and, you know, all this indie crap, where it's more about haircuts and style and, you know. And I know about this because my friend works with Madonna and people like that, and he says the worst offenders, most obnoxious people he's ever met are all these upcoming indie bands. He said they can't play for shit, but they know, you know, when the next Fendi sale's going on or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind if it's, you know, you've got an indie magazine that reviews your album and says, you can be expected that, but it's when legitimate magazines just, you know, spend the entire interview or a review talking bollocks without actually getting to the music or making a point. When you use the word gay, you're right, it's funny, right? But an album, this is gay, is not a journalistic musical appreciation, is it? And what does that mean? It's just, it's gay. So, you know, I don't care. We used to care, you know, when Nick and Robin and that were in the band, we used to hunt journalists down and beat them up at festivals. I've seen a couple of pretty horrific moments with journalists getting their face punches in. But no, it doesn't really bother us that much anymore. Like I say, I'd rather be loathed and loved than sort of, well, you know, can't decide if you like him or not.
Well, there's
mediocrity.
Like, I guess vocals, death metal vocals, not just your vocals, got to have a certain kind of personality.
Yeah, exactly. Each to their own, you know what I mean? I can't stand reggae.
Right.
But hey.
But if you were to review a reggae album, you would.
Well, I wouldn't be in a
position. It with I'm not into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in the position to review it in the first place, would I? Because why would I need to be?
But then there are reviewers who are doing just that, but they don't understand that while they're getting a laugh, maybe they're getting some respect from other journalists.
Yeah.
They're hurting your sales from people who haven't heard the stuff. But do you think that journalists like that will affect people who already know Cradle?
I don't think so, no. Nah. Oh, it depends, you know, it depends who they are, really. But funny one was quite recently we had a review shared with Phil Collins, a reissue of, I don't ask me why, it was Cradle and Phil Collins, and it was a review pitching one against the other, and it was very comical, but it did bring out some good points in it. I found it very funny, you know, and I'm sure Phil did himself. I must ring him up and check.
Very happy to see that more and more scenes are converging and overlapping. Not only black metal and death metal, but also some of the gothic people appears on our shows. I see sometimes some industrial people. Even I saw different colored people, sometimes black people, and I'm very happy to see them actually. So I don't think we should have any limitation in that way. We are not that many, so it's no point to fight against each other in extreme metal. I think it's a different question who has a meaning, who has something to say or who has nothing to say, or who is, like you said, copying some other bands, or who is coming up with something original. But it's nothing to do with, I think, with the form of the music. It's more about like the message of the music.
What changes have you noticed in the crowds that come to the show?
Well, there's more females. It used to be predominantly male, and you know, we play gigs now where there's been like 60% female, you know, 70% female, and I know nobody go, well, that's really gay because it's got female vocals. It's like, no, it's actually the opposite way. If you figure it out, it's actually cool to have lots of women at a gig. You know what I mean? Not loads of hulking, big arms, crossing their arms like that, death metal fanatics who just like bum each other. It's cool. That's what I noticed a lot of. And I've noticed there has been a lot more unity in crowds. There used to be, when I first come to America, there used to be like the pit bulls, and then there'd be like the punks, and they'd be kicking off and like snotty each other. And recently I've noticed it's, you know, you get kids here with Dag Nasty t-shirts and the Descendants on their back, mixing with kids with dart throwing, and that could be down to the fact, you know, that they've gone to the mall and bought these shirts, but who the fuck cares, really, you know? Everybody starts somewhere. You know, I admit, I put my hands up, and I remember buying albums purely on the basis that they had scary monsters on the cover when I was 13. But then I got into it, you know what I mean? Apart from Lars Rocket, they were awful.
If I look upon the scene, it changed for the good, for the bad, whatever. If you see it in different angles and different perspectives, I mean, you get so many crap bands that just ride the waves of what other people create, and while some people that really deserve it get the respect that they deserve, you know. I mean, I don't care about this band or that band, but it's both good and bad, I would say. It's good that you can spread your message in the way you can do. I mean, when I look back upon maybe 1991, I would never have thought that black metal releases would be available in usual record stores and you would tour the world. I wouldn't have thought of that at that time period anyway.
What are some of the changes you've seen in people in death metal?
Oh, I don't know, man. Like, maybe the main change I've seen, like, going through metal was like an internet thing, you know what I mean? Like, things are different these days, you know what I mean? Like, the metal fan itself, you know, I mean, they're kind of the same everywhere, you know, I mean, ever since there's a kid, you know, I mean, wearing black, you know, I mean, attending shows, drinking beer, listening to metal, you know. But, you know, I mean, in a way, you know, I mean, things are a little bit different than they used to be, especially the internet thing, you know. I mean, nowadays the kids, they have to click it and they got everything, you know. I mean, back in the day, we were like sending stuff over, you know, I mean, and it was great, you know, I mean, go to a PO box and get some little something there, you know, I mean, like trade shirts and stuff. I would say that's the main difference, the main thing that happened through the years, I guess, you know, I mean, makes things a little bit different, but in a way, but after all, it's the same, you know, I mean.
So would you say that doom music or the Shape of Despair music is something that would not work in a live setting? It's just for album?
No, that's not the reason. Just being honest.
You can't go and put a good doom band playing in sunshine like broad daylight at the festival. No, that don't work.
Not really.
If you got a nice small club filled with people who understand what the music is, it might work, but I wouldn't go and try anyway.
That's hard to get it in Finland.
Rumor has it that Chris Barnes is friendly with Cannibal Corpse.
Well, yeah, we see him. Hey, what's up? You know, it's not like we're doing tours with him or anything like that, or that he's coming back in the band or anything.
Oh, I was going to ask.
No reunion tours. It's not happening. And I speak for the rest of the guys too. They will tell you that's a fact. It is not happening.
So you're not going to pull a Ronnie James Dio if Ozzy comes on stage with Black Sabbath?
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, you know, those are my songs now. You know, I mean, they're his lyrics, of course, but I sing them my way, and so that makes them half mine.
You mean you don't lisp?
Oh.
You actually performed with Maniac for one song on one of the live albums.
Yeah. It was in '98 when actually I finished the recording of an Aborim album. I think it was after Firewalk With Us recordings. No, it was after the first recording actually in '98, after the Kali Yuga Bizarre album. And the guys got in touch with Mayhem and we went up to visit the show in Milano. We went up from Rome. And when I met the guys, came the idea that maybe I could do a guest song. So Maniac was pretty cool because he didn't say anything against it, so he invited me on stage, and From the Dark Past song, we sang it together. That was the first time I appeared with Mayhem on stage. It's pretty cool, actually.
Have you ever thought about using your voice for something commercial?
You hear my voice? What the fuck could I sell besides fucking death metal?
Maybe you could be on a video game like one of the Call of Cthulhu gods.
Well, yeah, that would be cool to do some monster voices on games. That's the only thing I could do. Roar, growl, yippee.
Now, you said you're in a side project?
Yep.
Tell us all about it.
Paths of Possession is the name of the band.
So you're not afraid because a different vocalist of Cannibal Corpse got into a side project and then he all of a sudden wasn't in Cannibal Corpse?
No. I mean, if you hear the music, it's. I mean, I think 6 Feet Under, of course, are a lot different than Cannibal Corpse, but this music is just as different. I'm just not singing the same. I mean, there are some songs where I sing low, but there's a lot of stuff where I'm singing like more screaming.
Black metal.
Yeah. Well, you know how the screams I do with Cannibal, but I do more of that and then more low. I'll give you a CD. You can be the judge of it.
So would you say that you're? I hate using the word fan base, but the people who are into the band, is there a constant replenishment of new, younger people?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I don't have sound scans available where that sort of say. And I'm as surprised as many people. It's like Maiden are still huge, despite the fact they've got to be like 4 generations down now, and these are new kids who will go to Hot Topic and whatever. And they've still got these old men whom I love, but doing songs about the, Benjamin Brieg and the Crimean War and stuff like that, stuff that just goes straight over kids' heads. So I'm as surprised as anybody else that they still pull all these sort of, 14, 15-year-olds in a day where it seems bands like Chemical Romance and, these sort of bands that are neither metal or pop seem to be predominantly ruling.
America, I would say, is a very clique type of country where a a lot of people are either black metal or death metal, with some maybe in between people. Is Sweden and other countries, are they like that as well?
I mean, people are different everywhere. Some people probably are, while some people that have a brain, they see the aspects of both black and death metal and don't make a problem of it. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, you know. That's also a part of the media, again, I think, that make this problem, you know.
What is the most popular kind of metal in Finland?
You know, the Children of Bodom-ish. Fast double bass, yow yow. Ooh yeah, fast guitars, bullshit. The queer stuff.
What is more popular in Finland, the death metal vocal type of music or the...
No, it's all about them screamers, you know. Skinny fucking fag screaming.
I'm appearing in a soon-to-be well-known horror movie. I can't give you any more details.
Do you know how much money I made at the last horror convention? Yeah, all those guys, they were coming up to you wanting to take pictures with you, and you were charging them. I was charging them $10 to take a picture with me. Oh my goodness!
I would say that Mayhem made black metal big because of the early stuff. I don't want to ask any questions about that. It seemed that black metal became a Norwegian music. So how did a Hungarian fit into this?
I never had any problem with that because, like I mentioned about my first band, Tormentor, and we started the band in '86, and we got pretty famous or infamous very soon in Hungary, and very soon in '88 we recorded our first full length called Anno Domini. Actually, we did a demo called 7 Day of Doom in '87, and then that's totally different songs. To be accurate, it was, I think, 2 songs appeared on Anno Domini 2, but Anno Domini was like a first full-length studio recording I ever made. In '88, I was 17 years old, long ago, and it turned out to be that good that it's influenced later other bands. Well, the story is that it's never been released in the 80s in Hungary because of the circumstances and whatever political system and all this bullshit. We were pretty isolated, so it was not possible to release it at all. So the recording was done and we couldn't release it, so after a while we just had a tape and started to copy that tape to the fans because they were demanding that. And someone, you know, back then it was no internet, so there was this kind of underground tape trading going on, and someone, I can recall the name, he was, as I heard later, Thomas Vámosi, who sent the tape to Euronymous, and Euronymous was really impressed by that recording, and he also copied to other people. So of course they didn't know much about our band, so they were very much surprised that something like that exists from Hungary. And as I later heard, it was pretty much influencing even Mayhem and a couple of other bands like Emperor, Enslaved, Immortal. All these guys love that stuff. And as I look back now, I think we were one of the first bands who used synthesizers, at least here or there in a few songs. And that was pretty much ahead of its time, I think. And songs like Elizabeth Bathory and Beyond and Heaven and stuff like that, they were pretty nice stuff. And even when I listen today, I'm still proud of it. So I just re-released, actually, not long ago, when I found this old videotape, because it turned out that we recorded in the studio on a videotape, the album, so it sounded much better. So I thought that it's definitely worth to re-release it on my personal record company called Saturnus Productions, and that's how it came back. But anyway, the story of Tormentor, it continues, that I can thank to that band and that recording that later Mayhem find me, because after the suicide of Death, they were looking for another vocalist, and I think it was Euronymous' idea to find me because, as I heard later, I was the favorite vocalist of both of them, and they just managed somehow to get in touch with me in Hungary. It's a strange story because my stage name, now I use my own name, but my stage name in Tormentor was Mayhem. So when I first heard about it, I thought it was a really strange coincidence. So I like signs, so that was a good sign, and here I am with Mayhem. So of course, obviously I don't use that stage name anymore. But and the Tormentor story, to finish it, that later Samot from Emperor in like 95 got in touch with me and he released Anno Domini, but that release was from this old tape what we had. So that was a cool release actually, but when I found this videotape, I thought it's cool to release it in the right quality, and where you can actually hear the instruments clearly and what we were playing. So so I ended up in Norway in '93 and did the recording of the Mysterious album, which became kind of milestone in black metal, I guess. So that's how it was.
Are we gonna like the lovely lady who's carrying lots of beer and vodka?
Well, used for.
Let the lovely lady with vodka and beer come by!
Farewell
very little known about you personally, which I heard from Alan from Primordial, is that you were actually a starving artist at one time.
Yeah.
And people don't know that your roots are actually you had days when you were wondering where your next meal is coming from.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. My wife, well, then my girlfriend, now my wife, took a job in a meat packing plant so that the band could have enough time and that we'd actually be able to afford to do things. And yeah, it was living hand to mouth for 2 years. So it wasn't all, it wasn't all plaques and novelty hams. it was pretty hard graft. And that's what you got to do to get where you want to go.